In a new age of watchmen, a team of individuals, pooling their talents and abilities, come together to bring analysis, reaction, and comedy to the fold. This is their chronicle. This is Accounting Arc.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Accounting Arc. Today we are doing non-traditional accountant interviews, and with me today is Rose. Rose, would you like to introduce yourself, where you're located, and what kind of work do you do?
Yeah, hi, I'm Rose Wang, and I'm located in both Hawaii and California. And I am a CPA, an entrepreneur, solutions consultant, and now an author. And for about the last 20 plus years of my career, I spent most of it as owning several successful businesses, including my own CPA practice, as well as a manufacturing company.
Cool. There's all kind of stuff there.
Yeah.
We're really going to have to unpack that.
Run the gamut.
Well, since on previous podcasts, we've actually talked about the concept of CPAs as founders or accountants as founders or founders of companies. So maybe let's start there. Tell us a little bit more about that. What was your, what company did you found and what were you guys doing?
Well, my first company was my own CPA firm. So I focused mainly on small business, being in Hawaii, small business companies, and all my companies were small businesses. So it was very niche business where I only helped out small businesses, and we had about 100 small businesses around there. And it ran the gamut from service to retail to construction to inventory based. So what my goal was trying to do is become more of a partner with those companies so that they had someone to lean on. They knew their business like exceptionally well, but when they had questions about how it would relate to them in either business or even like business planning, when they wanted to do business planning and projections and maybe going for government work or things like that, that's where I could really help step in and give them a little bit more guidance on and get them to that next level. And that's why I really focused on small businesses and their owners.
I love that. I think I agree with you. That's where I think we can have so much of an impact is really working. I mean, my firm, we love to work with small businesses too and help them be more successful. And I love that you brought this concept of like, they actually know their business. And that's what I always tell clients when we worked with them, because they're like, well, do you have experience in this industry? And I'm like, not necessarily, or I may not know it as deep, but there's no way I'm going to know it as deep as you, but I know what questions to ask you.
Yeah,
to surface the right things to think through to start to figure out those plans.
And then dealing with a lot of different small businesses in that aspect, it was good because I could see the common themes occurring within the different industries that I was working with. And they were very common among like service, common issues, and among, where it relates to job billing and productivity and collections and things like that. And then versus like where you have like more of an inventory type of situation where they were more concerned about like, cash, return on cash, ROI and inventory turnover and things like that. So it was like helping them get through looking at it analytically, from an objective point of view, because they're so close and, of course, these are their babies. So sometimes it's harder to see when things are so close to you. But when I was able to show them analytically like, here is the trend. Here is, what the forecast can be. And here is what we see from your financials, like interpreting it. It helped them to kind of step back and look at it from a bird's eye view to really do like business strategy. So that was what I really enjoyed from that company. And then after I sold that, I was able to create another company where we had a manufacturing company. And that was really more because it gave me more breadth of like how to deal with now international vendors and learning how to deal with like logistics and freight and and all the change in the way you sell things. So it was kind of exciting, like doing something different, but all of it kind of comes back to the foundations of knowing the numbers and what it's telling me, and then being able to use that to determine the business strategy that I want to follow. And that's kind of the path I took.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, when they hear business strategy and this stuff, they think that it's big companies that need that. How does business strategy play itself out in a smaller business?
I think every business has a strategy, right? I mean, you want to last past the 7 to 10 years, you need a strategy. I mean, most people go in it for different reasons, and it's not always financial, right? So depending on what their goals are, I feel like every business or even every person should have their own personal business or work strategy as to where you want to end up being and what you see for yourself 2 to 5, 10 years down the line, and how are you going to get there, right? And for me, it always rolled back to the numbers. What are the numbers telling me? Because accounting hasn't really changed much from like when the Phoenicians developed it, right? So debit credits, it's like all balances, right? Which is a nice thing. But how you interpret it is what determines what you can do with it. So I think that's really why when you talk like non-traditional accounting, it's how you interpret it and what can you use. That I feel like, well, how do you use those numbers to create the path that you want, right? And that's what I felt I did.
Like that. So how did you learn to do that? Is that what you learned in school, or what if someone wanted to end up doing this type of stuff that you're doing, how would they prepare? What would be your advice to them?
I think it does come from a lot of background of in school does give you the foundations which you'll need, for any accounting, auditing, tax, all of the classes you learn like in school, like you do end up using it. It's very transactional. So you do need to know your stuff that you're learning in school, because once you are out there trying to apply it, then that's when you learn, I think, more experience with a variety of different companies will get you to where to understanding like how that particular industry works and what's important for that particular industry. So when I started out, I worked with several, when I was still in school, like still did internships with several companies, local companies businesses, not CPA firms, but businesses that I admired. And from there, I paid attention and, learned from those running it, like what it's like to run a company like that. And then when I rolled into, PwC, then I was able to learn now, how does auditing and tax affect what happens to an actual business? Even though not every business has an auditor. Every business does have taxes, but not every business has an auditor. But the skills you learn as an auditor does help you determine how to analyze trends and look for gaps and holes and pitfalls, and then projections. All of that comes with just doing the work. It's hard to, it's not like you can pick it up in one class or one place. It's a culmination that builds over many, many years. And after having so many years of experience, that's how I can be able to say, I see this. I can see this projection. I can see what's going to happen, and this is the path that maybe you might want to look at. These are your options, kind of thing. So that's basically it. Like, you just got to put in the work, basically. Yeah.
I agree with you. As you know, because we sort of work together at
Yes.
PwC.
Yeah.
My background also comes from the audit side, and that exposure to all of the different companies, whether large or small, really does help you understand the nuances and the difference, even in the same industry, how different companies operate and where you can identify opportunities.
Yeah. The more you're exposed, I think the better it is at paying attention, the better it is at identifying, well, I've seen this before, or I haven't seen this before, and how did it turn out, right? You have the benefit of being able to see the history, and then what happens year after year when you go back to that client. Like, did it work out for you? Did it not work out for you? So
well, and what do you enjoy about this work? What keeps you working in this field, or doing all of this type of work that you're doing? Because you're like really a serial entrepreneur, but it sounds like there's the theme in the work that you're doing.
Yeah, when I like accounting in the sense that it's very structured and ordered. Like, there's a logical order to it, and like I said before, it hasn't changed the early 7,000s, whatever, like that, right? It hasn't really changed. The foundations of accounting is still the same. So I like the order, the structure that it provides. But personally, I'm very geared to like how a little bit of creativity. I like to know why something works one way and how. And the reason is, I always ask, like, why is it that way? And how can we improve it? Like, how can we improve upon that to get to the next level? So that kind of, that's just personally how I approach things. So being an entrepreneur gives me that outlet to be able to say, well, let's try this and let's see if it'll work or not. And, like, it allows me to be a little more innovative, but without breaking the mold, like the accounting mode. I'm not breaking it. I'm just, let's try something, let's see it. Like, let's see what will happen, right? And of course, you forecast, like, you're not going to do anything like 10 steps down the line. We forecast, oh, let's try this. And yeah, did it work? Okay, let's keep pushing a little more and see how much we can really push it, make it work. So like being an entrepreneur, I liked being able, like I said before, being able to tell the health of a company and then what business direction and strategy we can go from there to make it even grow better. And then as like a solutions consultant, I really enjoyed like being able to see steps, like plan out from A to Z, or at least A to G, like where can we go with this and how will we avoid pitfalls? And it's a little more creative in that way than traditional accounting. And then now as an author, I think I really hit upon my really creative side where I was trying to document and write like towards my audience, on personal finance, like how can you set yourself up for success based on what I've learned for all these years, but in a very easy simple way, not to scare anyone off or, to make it like something digestible for people, given my target audience. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that comes back to the AICPA's definition of the mission that we have as accountants, which is to make sense of this changing and complex world
Yeah.
for the everyday person. You just mentioned your book. Did you did you want to share your
Yes,
book
I
with us so we
do.
could see?
So this is my new book that I just came out, The Young Adult's Guide to Financial Independence. And it's a playbook for what I want to say is like I call it the 4 pillars of personal finance. So for me, it's managing your money and also, building your wealth and establishing your credit, and then also protecting with insurance. So this one is perfect for young people that just came out graduating or just starting the workforce, kind of point them in the right direction, shine a light on what areas to look at, to put them on the right path, right?
Very cool, very cool. So no one can say accountants can't be creative, because you
No,
definitely have given us some examples of how you're using your creativity within the
yeah.
confines of accounting.
And I've noticed there are a lot of accountants, they run the gamut, we need all different people in order to make the industry of accounting work. And I feel like I've met so many that run the gamut, from those that are very structured for detailed work, which they love and do a great job at, and the research. And then also like on the opposite scale, those that are more, like I said, more creative or like to look at it more from a bird's eye view. So we need everyone in order to make it balanced. So our industry is not one or the other. I think there's a big range that you can be part of when you choose accounting.
So in looking at that range, what you effectively said, if I can restate it, is like everyone has kind of different gifts, or different powers that they have, abilities that they have. What would you say is your kind of superpower?
So, um, like I would think mine is more being able to like read the audience is what I think is my superpower, in the sense that I do a very good job of absorbing information and analyzing it, and then being able to translate it, but gear it towards the audience that is going to be hearing the message. And a lot of times there are different types of audience. There are those that are generalists, those are technical, those that may be more deeper in the thick of it, versus others that just want an overall executive summary or C-suites. So being able to digest all the information and explain it and guide among the different audience, I think is a skill that I value for myself. And also being able to see like process steps from like point A to like point E or G. Then from that way, I could see how it can play out, like the different ways, like if it goes this way and then we have this turn, it'll go this way, and being able to say, well, these are all your options, and which one do you kind of like, and then we'll go towards there, and then we'll reassess at that time, right? So those, I believe, are my strengths, and the important reason that I believe those are important for me, or how it's helped me, is that it helps to move the needle on a project or on a business strategy, because being able to keep everybody on the same page as to why a project is important, or how a project is progressing, or why this strategy is important, keeps everyone together working toward the same common goal. And that I think is how we get innovation done. Make it successful is keeping everyone together, like the whole team's coming along, right? So So the adoption is there, and people understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, but being able to explain it to different groups allows them to all feel comfortable with what's changed, right?
I love the way you explain that because you really tie that back into innovation.
Yeah.
The fact that we're not necessarily one making the decisions and driving the innovation directly, but we're helping people really understand their options, the implications of their options.
Yeah.
Once they've decided on an option, okay, now let's figure out, and we often talk about that as the vision and clarity. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? And how are you going to get there? Let's get you the clarity on how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's something I feel like we do as accountants.
Yes, it's the logistical side of us, like the functional logistical side of us that, we always, like for me, I like order. So, I like to know how it's going to lay out, or at least try to, but I don't have to know everything. We don't know everything. I at least can see a couple steps down the line. And then we can get there, then we have, hey, what's the next steps, right? And if I feel comfortable getting to the next couple of steps, great, let's go. Let's keep going, And then little by little, we'll get there. And then before you know it, we're at the end, and we just created something new, right? So,
Love it.
yeah.
Let me flip the question now. So if that's kind of your superpower, what's your critical vulnerability? Your weakness?
So I think for me, is that I need to know, I need to learn to know the limits, how to limit the number of roles I take on, I think. Because as an entrepreneur, I tend to want to do everything, especially with small businesses. You are basically going to do everything. The good thing is you know how to do everything. The bad thing is you know how to do everything because that makes it harder to really grow without letting other people do those roles. And getting people that are experts in those roles even though you can do it, is important to allow like me to focus on where I really need to direct my limited time to. Like you probably attest to this, right? And so people that are, I think that for me, that's where I have conscientiously like made a goal of monitoring like how deep I get into something, because I don't want to be in the situation where I hit that wall, and I want to have that work-life balance, no matter how what do you call aggressive my entrepreneurial spirit is, or how enthusiastic I am about it. It comes back to the fact that, yeah, I know myself that I have to pull back when I need to. So it's still a work in progress. And I give props to this generation and the last generation for teaching me that because they do it very well. They do a very good job of learning their work-life balance and being okay saying it. I think for my generation, maybe I feel like was not very vocal with that, and we can learn a lot from this current generation, how they do that.
Well, so I'm always learning. I think that's one of the other key things for us.
Yeah.
Well, if people want to learn more from you, or if they want, let's do two things. One, if they want to learn more from you, how do they get in touch with you?
They can go to my website, which is apairagroup.com. So APAIRA group.com. And they can just contact me there, or on Instagram @Apaira Group as well. And I'm going to
That's my second question.
So this book I wrote, I know I talked a little bit about it, but I wrote it because
just the angle a little bit.
Oh, okay. Let's try that.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. So this book is on Amazon, and it's also on my website, apairagroup.com. And you just search in Amazon under my name, Rose Wang, and it'll come right up. But I wrote this book mainly for like graduates and people that are just newly starting to be employment, because to me, like personal finance is a learned skill, but it's not really taught in schools from what I talking to people about. And it is a source of like, what they call it, financial adulting 101. So I feel like I wrote this book so that it makes it very simple. It's very short, easy to read, so that it just shines a little flashlight as to where directions you can go, in order to get your finances with a good foundation. And then you could do those actionable tips, like just on your own, like all individually whenever you want to, it's in digestible bites. So that's why I wrote this. And I feel like it's a great gift for anyone that's graduating. And also, if you don't want to have that conversation with your whatever parent about it, then that's a good way to kind of get some information from someone that's been there and has people that's been, kids that have been there too as well. So
Well, and that
on Amazon.
leverages your gift of taking
Yes,
that
exactly.
complex personal finance and
Yes.
making it simple and a path that they can follow. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And
Thank you.
all of you out there, thanks for joining us for another episode of Accounting Arc, and I hope to see you on the next episode.
Okay, thank you. Take care.
The Center for Accounting Transformation provides business professionals with a network for utilizing innovations that are ready for adoption, the training and resources necessary to apply those innovations, and an opportunity to engage the talent and community needed to further the pursuit of innovative accounting practices that drive responsible and mindful business performance. Find out more at our website, www.improvetheworld.net. And if you're interested in sharing your own transformation stories, please contact us there.